All right, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Kickish. Today we have Titus here. We're going to talk all things Black men yoga. And so I want to first start off telling you guys how I met Titus. And
Yeah.
the story goes all the way back to like 2006.
Before that, maybe.
Oh,
I came to AAA, and the yearbook something. I helped you in somebody's room with the designs or whatever for the banquet. I think
yeah,
it
that's
was
also, it's probably like Tamesia, I think, because me and her, we were pretty cool.
Tamesia. Yep,
Yeah.
Tamesia. And then
Wow.
Oakwood happened, and then dinners in my house, my parents' house, all freshman year.
Let me tell you, I be
All
seeing your
freshman, all
mom on
freshman year.
social media and be like, man, I wish I was in this store right now.
For some of that good food, Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I decided to hit you up because I just started doing some yoga. I'm not gonna lie. I like on a scale of 1 to 10, I was
Okay.
always at a 1 about my passion with yoga because
Okay.
I would be so bored and want to fall asleep. And then I went to this yoga. It's like in Atlanta, they have like yoga in the park.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool,
It was lit.
like I'm not doing this no more. But I be following your stuff and like, man, he looks like he enjoys it so much. And then I see other people who do yoga. I'm like, man, it seems like they enjoy it. So I took a class with Chelsea Jackson Roberts
Okay.
on Peloton. Her trap yoga and her Post Malone yoga. I was like, okay, but I'm still not there. But I don't see, I guess my biggest thing is like, I don't see a lot of Black people in yoga.
Yes, and no. But go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm leading with that.
Okay. So yes and no. Yes, because a lot of
Sorry.
folk who aren't in the yoga world like I am won't see a lot of Black folk.
Okay. Okay.
But once I begin to really pursue yoga on social media, I've stumbled across a hell of a lot of Black yogis on Instagram, around the world, in the country. Not in Alabama at all, because Alabama. But we exist in the yoga world for sure. It's probably not a large percentage at all, but we're out there. We're out
Okay.
there. It's tough. It's tough because a lot of the yoga world now has become a very, of course, whitewashed world, and people who aren't of color don't realize that what's normal for them isn't something that pursues other individuals and you good?
Yeah, sorry. I said something.
Okay. When you dominate a particular realm of life, like what a lot of people do, they don't see a difference as being something to pursue. So they don't really make space for those people of color to come into spaces at all. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I guess like for me, and I'm gonna go back this way. I'm going backwards.
okay,
So starting with perception of yoga, I'm gonna take it all the way back to my perception of yoga. So
okay, we can do
growing
that.
up in a Christian household, you heard things about yoga, and the worship of yoga and the science
Yeah,
of yoga. So
yeah.
honestly, like while it didn't scare me or whatever, I was just like, well, it looks boring anyway, so you can count me out. And
Okay.
then I started seeing people like doing. I'm like, ain't nobody worshiping nobody. But
No, right. Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I'm not really into it. Maybe I'm not aligned with the sun. you know, I'm just like, I don't know. But like being in the yoga class, I know like I hear Chelsea Jackson Roberts, she does a lot of I guess she says a lot of phrases, the yoga phrases. And it's like, we're gonna go head down back to the earth. And I could be saying this all wrong, but but I understand that, we're going down to the floor,
Right.
this is the floor, and then
Right.
she's like the sun, and then we bring it
Right.
in, and I'm learning different stuff, but still I don't see, maybe because I didn't do my research into it,
Okay.
but like, is there any parallel where it's like, oh, don't do it, you're worshiping another god?
So you and I were both raised Christian similarly, with parents who were very, very conservative
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't about anything but church, FCA, da da da. So I probably spent about 6 to 8 months studying what yoga was. So I knew when someone asked me, so Ivy, what are you doing yoga? I had an answer that made sense to me and would give them a clear reason too. There are elements of gods and deities in yoga. And one of the biggest reasons that my mother had an issue with me doing yoga was because the names of poses are the names of many other gods.
Oh,
that's a thing. That's a thing. Now, I personally, because I'm as grounded as I am in myself and my spirit, even if there is a name of something that may be called a pose or whatever, I know that I'm not going to be worshiping or acknowledging that deity. I have my spirit. I got my God. I got my creator, whatever it is. So I can still
know who I am.
Move my body. I know who I am.
I could change the name. This is the Jesus pose.
Right. So the other reason why I kind of still hold value to yoga, aside from it being what is assumed a religion, it's not a religion at all. It's definitely just a practice. It's a way of life. But why would you want to avoid a body care practice, a self-care practice? Something that really, really helps you to become more in tune to your body, stretch your body, breathe deeper, be more mindful. Like everything about yoga that's physical can help your whole life on a basic level. Like just basically.
I started incorporating it as like my cool down, my stretch thing, because I was telling my friends, I was like, I do not like yoga, but I like how I feel when I do yoga. Now I might be doing it all the way wrong. Okay. So I'm gonna need to come to one of your classes one day. And one day I am going to actually like text you ahead of time.
Yes, please, not the day before.
I'm so bad with it. I'm like, hey, I'm in town.
You in town? You got time to come up in 3 hours, Titus? No, Constance.
Oh, and I've been telling myself I really want to take a class. I really do. So with all the studying and all the stuff that you did, was there something that where you was like, nah, this is a little too much, but I still like it, but this might be a little too far?
That's a tough question. It's a tough question.
You thought about this?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It's tough because there have been a couple things that came up for me years ago, but they were so minute. They were so like it didn't matter enough for me to not get the benefits of what yoga gave me. Like, you know, what the issues were, what the questions were so small compared to how much better I felt because of what I was doing. Okay. You know, but I want to answer the question though. I really want to answer the question. Is there something that really stood out to me that caused me to question the yoga?
Or like your beliefs, because you know how they said, oh, Christianity, that like you just said, some of the poses are named as gods. Something that's like, oh, this goes against what I believe.
So I'm gonna say I'll say this. A lot of what I was raised to believe and was told to believe and was taught to believe, I never actually fully believed anyway. Okay. So I've been open to a lot of this stuff from early on. Like I was meditating at my house at like 13 years old, Constance. I was down for this type shit before I even thought about it being a thing that I could do in 15 years or so ago. So yes and no, like things are different, but I'm about different. I'm here to have a different way of seeing life and experiencing the world and spirituality and that kind of shit. So I really can't say there was a thing that said, Titus, no, don't do this because of that reason. It's more like I'm open to receive whatever else can help me live a higher life. And if yoga is going to do it, then I'm down for it.
Okay. So now I know what I was going to say. So you brought it back. So, you know, as growing up, and I'm going back as to what you just said, as far as what you was raised and everything. So, you know, in our denomination, we was raised with the health message. So the health message is eating well and all stuff. And Nika and I, we were talking about this last night because I was telling her I was going to be talking to you. I think we're so heavy. Like, I agree with the health message. Like, I'm not knocking that because the whole world needs it. But I do feel like there are a few elements that
Yes.
needs to be
All of
included.
that. Yes.
And we were talking
All of
about
that.
yoga, like
Yes.
just stretching the body, and also like the mental health message. So it's like the mental, the body, and the body goes with physical and diet. You know, I feel like we harp a lot on the diet, and I think we're starting to do better with, you know, the physical,
everything else.
but I think it's a total package. And for me, I feel like I see people, they do yoga for the physical benefits as well as the mental benefits.
So to respond to that most fully, I and to give some more flesh to this Christian perspective conversation that we're having right now, I never felt that I was given a complete human experience from the church.
Okay.
Like you said, health message, church every Saturday, SDA. Health message, church every Saturday. No alcohol, no pork, da 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 da. Very, very ritualistic, but very, very, very here. Right? Not much physical, and not much real spiritual work.
But you know, I don't think I realized that till I was older.
You're right. Well, okay.
But you said 13, you was meditating.
I had it. You know,
I'm like meditating.
I didn't know why. But I knew something was out there beyond whatever this shit was.
Yeah.
So once I began to study and experience, so I'm gonna go real deep real quick, okay? Cool. Once I began to experience what spirit was,
okay,
and how yoga takes you to an experience of what spirit is and what source and God really can be in a physical way, it gave me a chance to experience what the rituals and scriptures talk about that we don't really get to have in our physical bodies. That yoga takes me to a place of having a physical experience of God, not just a God is outside, but God is here with me, inside of me, and I can have that sensation in me too.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting the full package of yoga, because I'll be like,
why not?
right. All right, we done?
Okay. So, workout.
Oh man. Okay. Yes. That's real interesting. So going back to meditating, okay, because I had to write that down for a second. Honestly, when I think about meditating, I'm just throwing this out here. I think about falling asleep. Like, you know, when they always say, let's have that moment of silence. I feel like moment of silence and meditating, they're just one and the same. I know it's not. I know you're supposed to be deeper. Like I, you know, I ain't that slow, but I've been in a session when there's like, and we're gonna meditate, and in my head, I'm like, yo, what we eating next? I gotta do my hair, I gotta take a shower, like, and just trying to be there, and I can't. I don't know. Maybe I need to try a little bit harder. But what are you actually like looking for or doing in your meditation?
It's tough. It's tough because your mind takes you places really far when you start meditating. You really, really can. So okay, let me ask you a question. What have you heard? What do you think is a purpose of meditation? Like, why do you think it's done?
So honestly, I take meditation and prayer. To me, I link them in the same, because when I pray, I'm trying to like literally be in that moment with just God. Okay. And like hear from God, talk to God. And I don't know if that's fully meditating, because I've heard some people like, oh, you know, I meditate in the morning or whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I pray, but I feel like
what does that mean?
Same thing. But then sometimes my prayers aren't like that. Sometimes my prayers are on the go prayers, but that's not meditating, you know. But there are times where I want to be with God and just, you know, sit and just talk and, you know, hear. So that's my idea of meditating.
Okay. So you said a really, really important phrase in there. And you said a couple of things, but one thing that stood out to me most was you wanted to be in the moment. Right. So being in the moment is something that we aren't used to doing as humans. Something else that I want to tack on that I'm bringing together the moment thing, and the second thing you said. We often don't see meditation as a practice. We see it as a thing to do. Okay. Okay. So if you were to see meditation as a practice, something to attempt and something to work into and to work on, it may become more of a experience and not a sit down, okay, shut up brain, let me just be here in the moment.
Okay.
When instead it's a practice of two things: observing your thoughts in a non-judgmental way, in a very distant, just watching thoughts happen,
Okay.
and then releasing your thoughts and let them go, in order for you to come back to a place of peace or quiet or God.
Okay. So I feel like, I don't know if you ever seen that movie War Room. So
I did years ago. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you know how she has her closet, and
Right.
that's her prayer room. That's where she and God, they exist. And so my granny, in this little closet, my granny used to have this little closet every morning, and that's where her and God. I feel like that's where she with meditate is not the word that she would use, but I feel like that's where in that moment, and I felt like it was a practice for her because that was part of her life. It wasn't like a thing to do, but that was her thing. That was part of who she was. Every morning and evening, that's what she did. She was in that closet, in that little chair, and she did. You might walk into that room, but if that closet door was closed, she's in that moment, and you let her be. And I felt like she experienced what she experienced on like a higher level than, us. We're like, all right, God. Yep. You heard my prayer.
Yeah, you heard it. All right, peace. Thanks.
Oh man. Okay. Because I be hearing people say, yeah, I meditate, and in my head, like, and then like, okay, so when you meditate, is there a particular pose you have to be in meditation? Or because when I be seeing people meditate, they're with their legs crossed and they're like this.
With the fingers.
Oh, like this?
Yeah. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that at all.
Oh, okay.
You can. So you ever get lost in a thought before?
Yeah.
Like zoned out somewhere sometimes?
Yeah.
You ever be washing dishes and just kind of lost in the dishes?
Not at all. I hate washing dishes.
Okay. You'll be driving somewhere before, and you're driving, and you
you're like, how do you
get here? Those can be moments of meditation.
Okay.
Where you are fully either here,
or
fully in your body.
Okay.
So you really could meditate on something.
Okay.
Or on someone. You could be mindful of what's happening right now, the texture of the room, the dispersion that's in the air, the whatever's around you. That can be a meditation. But the other thing about meditation is that it could be a time to just find peace and quiet. And you said before, prayer and meditation. I think prayer is talking to God.
Okay.
Listening to God.
Meditation is listening to God. Okay. Because that was another question I was going to ask you. Like, I know we usually talk, but what is the incoming of that? Okay. Because I've seen because we're still straggling that Christianity line right now. I've seen like bulletins where it said like prayer meditation.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that before. So I guess that's what they're meaning.
Hoping to get us into to then talk to God and then take a moment to then listen. But
yeah,
they were. But the problem is our brains are so full of that we can't hear. So meditation,
full of what?
Thoughts.
Okay.
That we can't hear. And meditation can be a time to practice quieting our minds enough to have the space to have God's voice, source, whatever you want to call him or it or she or however you call it, to then download knowledge and speak to you.
Yeah, I've been working on just trying to just have peace and quiet because being here, I usually have something on to help me, like where it's not too quiet. But I read this article and it was saying to allow, it was about some like a few tips for like parents and kids. It was like allow your children to be in a space of solitude. Like not always feeding them activity, something to do, allow them to learn how to be in that space. And when they become adults, they know how to be with themselves, you know, and it didn't go to the point of like meditation and everything, but I feel like that's on that line of being able to hear, you know, when you're being talked to and be able to, you know, pray and all that other stuff like that. Okay.
You know about the word intuition, right?
Yeah.
And the inner voice.
Yeah.
The inner voice can be blocked out by all the thoughts, but if you practice meditation, that can give you the time to release all the thoughts, all the extra stuff, to then hear the inner voice, hear the intuition, and then from there make some moves.
You're right. So I don't know why I just God is still working on me because I could be childish, okay? Still. But what's that inner voice?
You ain't changed at all. You ain't changed a damn bit.
Oh man. So what does that inner voice like sound like? Like, because in my head, I go back to the story of Samuel where they're like,
I know.
Samuel, and I'm just like, I ain't never heard nobody say constant stuff like my parents or Dumars or something. But is there like, I don't know. Is there, because I feel like when I feel like I'm being spoken to by God or whatnot, like sometimes I feel like it's just coming from my voice. And then sometimes I question it, like, was that just me? Or, but like you said, I have to get to that point where I release all of, you know, the traffic so that, you know, I can hear. And there are times where I'm just like, I turn off everything and I'm like, all right, like, we got to get this. So
yesterday I was driving on the road coming home and there was a car. I pulled out to the street and there was a car in front of me. And my instinct would have been to jerk around, to get in front of him, and then pass him. And something in my head, voice, body, spirit, whatever, said, just take it easy. And I could have said, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna get around and go around it. Something said, take it easy. So I did. I stayed behind him. And within a second, he got over outside of my lane. So that could be attributed to the voice of God or inner guidance or
intuition,
whatever it is, intuition.
Whatever you want to call it, yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. But it took me not wanting to take my own path and what I wanted to do, and to have the peace and quiet enough to say, you know what? Let me observe that suggestion of being more in tune with the moment and not be too impulsive or too selfish. But I want this and I want that. Well, you know what, Titus? Let's just be chill for a little bit here and let life go as it needs to go.
Got it. Okay, so I'm about to switch gears and pull it back some again. Okay. What made you, because the Ivy, the Titus, the Edward that I know, this is not what we was talking about in college.
No,
it's not what we was talking about after college. So what made you, like, when I started seeing your yoga stuff, I was like, that's interesting.
Okay. That's interesting.
And then I saw like you really was
it kept going. And it kept going.
He for real. Like he in this. Like he about it. He true to this. Yeah. So like what made you, like, what was that moment where you was like, hey, I'm gonna go into yoga?
Okay. So you may remember, and I still kind of have this that I'm working through right now, which is kind of why I found yoga and pursued it. When I get excited, I get anxious, and I can sometimes stutter and run over my words.
Okay.
So probably 2017, I think it was, I started to look up mindfulness and ways to become more present and become more stable in situations. And that brought me to breath work and using my breath as a tool to become more present and more aware of the moment and less anxious about life. So later that year in the summertime of 2017, I realized that meditation and breath work and yoga have some similarities. Like, okay, let me do some research here about this yoga meditation thing, breathwork thing. So I did, and I found out that there was a lot more to yoga than just the poses and the mat work and all that kind of thing. Like there's a lot more to it other than just that. I was also doing some deep soul work, attempting to at least some deep soul work, and I was ending a relationship that had challenged who I was, and I needed to find some way or practice something to realign me and to give me some more foundations on who Ivy was and who Titus was becoming. Long story short-ish, best I can.
You know how Black folks do. Long story short, 2 hours
later. And 2 hours later on, right. One of the things that is a part of yoga, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, there's 8 limbs of yoga, there's 8 steps. And the first 2 steps are moral and ethical codes. The first of the moral ethical codes speak to living and speaking your truth, which is my first tattoo on my arm right here in Hebrew. It says "Speak your truth."
Okay.
So that having that as a reality, that this yoga practice was having me to pursue my truth in a very non-judgmental, in a very authentic kind of way. I was able to gain a level of authentic life from yoga. Able to explore myself and my body and my lifestyle and my interests and passions to be authentic. And yoga really, really pursues and it really offers you a chance to live an authentic life. So that was the spiritual side of it. But then with the physical side, that's also where I could show up for myself and express myself freely and fully on my yoga mat. Release a lot of tension on the yoga mat, find challenges, meet my edge, and then go beyond my edge, and tune into my body by finding one thing, like I said before, with the church and Christianity and health messaging and things, a very limited way of being a whole person. But yoga helps you to honor and to experience your body, not just mind and whatever else as well. That was a long preface to the answer to the question.
I'm here for it.
You here for it? Okay, good. Good. So once I began to practice yoga for myself, I'm a teacher. I taught photography at Oakwood Academy, and I taught at Apple at the store too. I teach naturally. Once I got this thing for myself, I said to myself, okay, I gotta show this to the world. I can't do it myself. I have to have the world get this whole benefit of yoga and breath and everything else as well. So I began to teach. I began to study. And I began to study more deeply with the postures and the names and why it's such a benefit to your body and aligning and things. And once I got studied enough, a teacher in town who's not here anymore, she said, hey, so Titus, you teach yoga, don't you? I said, yeah, to my friends. She said, you want to teach here? I said, I'm not certified just yet. Well, you're fine. You can still teach here. I said, okay, I'll try. So later on that year, the next year, I came back and I began teaching at a studio in town called Light On Yoga. And it's kind of been that ever since.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. So going back to your certifications. Well, first of all, here. So I was gonna joke at the beginning when I asked you this question to be like, was it a girl? And that it was a girl. So I'm just saying, I'm just.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Whatever answer you gave, it doesn't matter because in my head, it was a girl. That's all that matters.
Girl.
Oh, but no. Okay, so talking about certifications. What certifications do you have to have like for this? Is this something that you have to continue to renew, or because I know you were just saying that, hey, I don't have a certification, and she was like, it's okay, cool, come on, and how hard is that? Do you have to like do yoga for so many hours in at like an orientation or onboarding or?
So it's funny. This dialogue is a really funny dialogue in the yoga world because prior to yoga being popular in America, there weren't certifications.
So we just out here just like, yep, I'm gonna get, yep, they're expert because they say they're expert.
Right.
Ah!
Right.
So I'm a
Granted,
doctor, y'all. I'm a doctor.
granted, there is of course benefit to certification because it does help you to become. Um, uh, 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 it helps to have a governing body, and it helps to have some organization to the process of knowing that this person has done these things to accomplish whatever.
That's what I'm gonna look for.
But
too.
yeah, of course. And that's a big question, Constance. That I'm gonna try and break down the parts and pieces.
Let's do it.
Because yoga is more so a personal practice that is guided into, and not where I say you do these 10 things.
Okay. So
It really should be become the yoga teacher, yogi guide learns the practices of spiritual cleansing and spiritual cleaning and body cleansing to then guide someone on their path to that end goal as well. Anyone who studies the body, the mind, the spirit in the yogic philosophies can have the skill set to guide yoga.
Okay.
Truly. However, to come back a little bit, in America, there has been a boom of different styles of yoga: Vinyasa yoga, Hatha yoga, Baptiste style yoga, all kinds of styles of yoga as well. And those styles, because one, we're capitalist Americans, and two, you want to be able to have a force governing body, having certifications helps to clarify and verify the authenticity and the knowledge base of teachers who teach yoga too.
Okay.
A yogi is I remember reading a book somewhere. I think a yogi is a person who has taken the path to experience bliss.
Okay, so then she will be a yogi, and I'm just in here just trying to just do something.
Well, are you on the path to experience bliss?
I don't know. I was on the path of just trying to stretch.
Okay. Well, let me take you here then. What will stretching do for you?
It'll help me not wake up in the morning and feel like I'm 70 years old and I'm about to die. So I guess that's bliss for me.
Would that be bliss for you?
Okay. Yeah, because I've waken up and felt like I was going to, die because my body hurt. I worked out too much. I ain't stretched.
Right.
Okay. So that's okay. So someone who's on the path to experience bliss, because she'll suggest, she'll be like, all right, yogis. Okay. All right. She's the only person I've taken yoga from. That's why I keep bringing her name up. So I'm like, all right. Okay. So another question. What is the difference? And I've never done Pilates before, so don't judge me. What's the difference between yoga and Pilates?
That's a good question. That's a common question.
Okay, so that is good. Okay, I thought I was just like
no.
Pour out.
No. And it's funny because I actually, so to go back to us being Christians and everything, probably for a good 3 years, I would hide yoga in my room from my parents.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I put up YouTube in my room and be doing the whole yoga thing in my room. Because of course Eddie and Donna wouldn't have me doing yoga at the house. No, what?
That is, I guess, from the Wow.
So I would do yoga and I do Pilates too. I did them both. In studying yoga, of course, as my primary practice, and Pilates because it's similar. Pilates is more of a tone, strength based practice.
Okay.
With postures and movements and machines. They have machines too. They have these things called reformer machines. But the postures and movements are designed more to create tone and to have small movements that will refine the body's muscular structure. Whereas yoga and I want to clarify this too in a minute, but yoga in terms of the asana, ASANA, the asana practice, that word. You know about that word?
Yeah, I've heard her say it several times.
Okay, good. So the asana is the actual physical practice of yoga. Yoga has a full philosophy of ways to live, and asana is the physical practice of yoga. Okay. So the asana is more so, like I said before a couple minutes ago, a way to cleanse the body of stagnant energy, of just having tension in the body to prepare you. And I'm gonna go here from it too. The asana practice is designed to prepare your body to sit, to meditate.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever tried to sit and meditate before and you really can't just sit because your body's so tense and moving around and everything? That tension in the body can be released as if you practice yoga first, and then having a fully relaxed body can then sit quietly and meditate.
Okay. Because I've seen like one class, like we end in that position.
Savasana.
You know, yeah. And then like for the last like 30 seconds to a minute, like she's like, all right, and be at peace. Right. And I'm like, okay.
Because you can.
I never thought about that I couldn't. That's cool though. I never realized all of that was to get me into that pose.
Into that place of mind.
That place. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So to go back a little bit, because we're on this Pilates yoga conversation right now, the goal of Pilates, I don't think is to attain bliss or peace of mind. It's more so a physical practice.
Okay.
And the other thing, like I said before, it's more of a tone, strength, small body movement thing. Where yoga is a open stability, flexibility, strengthening, but also cleansing the body and mind of impurities, of tension, of things that can block you from having inner awareness, inner peace too.
Okay. So yeah, because I've never taken a Pilates class. But I was like, oh, if they're all the same.
Yeah, no, they're not the same.
Try it and I'll see. Okay. I do want to take a hot yoga class though. I feel like that.
So when you come up to Huntsville every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. after hot yoga.
I'll say this after.
If y'all come to Huntsville, if y'all watching this, come to Huntsville every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Come see me.
Huntsville, Alabama is on the map because you know they've been listed as one of the greatest places, the top places to live.
Damn straight. Sure is. Just this year.
Okay, so going back to being Black, because we are.
Okay.
How do you feel as, like, I know I was telling you that, you know, I don't really see a lot of Black people in yoga, but do you feel like as a Black person and then as a Black male, because I don't see Black men in yoga, but it's probably because that's not my circle that I'm in. You know, once you're in it, kind of like pilots, like I don't see Black pilots, and then my brother's a pilot, and then you know,
meet all of them.
Women, and he has friends who are Black women pilots, and it's like, oh, you know what?
They exist.
Yeah, once you get into that circle, you like, oh, we here. So, okay, how is it? I guess with that journey, is it more of first of all, let me go back. I don't ever really see men in yoga. Let's just start there. Is that like a thing? Like I really just be seeing women.
So you normally see white women.
Yeah, I normally see white women, literally.
Or women. That's really, really it. Because that's how the fitness and the fitness world goes in America. But to your other question, to your questions about this people of color, black concept. Two things. There are a couple of yoga magazines that exist. Yoga Journal, and another one too. Just in this past year, they have had Black women on the magazine covers.
Okay.
Just very recently. I'm the only Black male teacher in Huntsville. The only one.
Wow.
And it's challenging because, like anyone in fact, America, in America, you don't see yourself in places, in work environments, in social environments. You don't see yourself.
No.
And I have yet. I only now know two other Black teachers. They're both women in the city of Huntsville, who give me myself in the yoga class. My culture, my energy, how Black people exist. It's not popular. It's not seen much at all. It's tough because, like you said, I think you may have said this just now. Somebody else may have said it yesterday to me. Black people have a different experience of life too. We experience everything differently.
We
Like
experience
everything.
everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy because I actually talked to one of my coworkers about that. Like, you can give me and a white person and raise us in the same house, the same everything,
Yep.
do everything. It's just a total different experience, and it's really important, like, to see yourself. Because one reason why I never really was interested in yoga because I didn't see me.
You didn't see yourself.
You know, so when I saw Chelsea Jackson Roberts when they promoted her, I was like, oh shoot. It's a black woman. And then like listening to her talk, I feel like I can relate to her. Like it wasn't that she was just this black girl who never really could relate to other black women. She was she's one of us.
She was one of us.
And so I just like even how she speaks, you know, in her sessions, and even like with you, like when that's why I was like, yo, this is dope, like because I don't see it. And then for you to say that you're the only black male in Huntsville, and then there's only other 2 black women, like that's for real. That's why we probably wouldn't get into it because we don't see ourselves reflected.
Exactly.
You know,
and there's no space designed for us to exist in either.
Yeah, like that's crazy. I just thought that maybe I just wasn't in the world and I didn't see all the other black people. So no, you go somewhere, you be checking like who gonna be there.
You be looking.
Right.
Matter of fact, and hang on, let me fix that. There is one other black male teacher in Huntsville. He's not certified, but he doesn't teach often, but he does teach. He's more fitness geared and more gardening life geared. But I'm the one who teaches in studios in the city.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Okay, so this might be like one of my last questions. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But quick thing. So what other like fitness things do you do, I guess, that aids in yoga, or is yoga just like the end all be all that does it?
Yoga can be, yoga shouldn't be.
Okay.
Because yoga is a complete practice of strength, of endurance, of cardiovascular, of the lymphatic system. It really gets it gets everything that you really need. However, it's important to cross train and to be a more well-rounded person as far as your physical practice. Remember, I used to run back in the day. Haven't in a while. I'm gonna get back on that soon. I used to also weight train. Haven't in a while. I'm getting back on that soon as well, soon too. But a lot of yogis that I know of nowadays in America, and you gotta also consider, and I can go on and on about this concept. I really could, but you gotta consider that yoga. Okay, yoga comes from, right?
Comes from
India.
Okay.
As well as, remember, and I want you to know this, and everybody watch this podcast know this. Yoga didn't only start in India; it also began in Africa, in Egypt. There's a style of yoga called Kemetic yoga, and Kemetic yoga is an African Egyptian practice of yoga.
Wow.
If you look at the pyramids and the postures of people on pyramids, they're doing yoga poses.
Let me go look at some of my pictures.
Kemetic, Kemetic yoga is a thing that is real. But why did I go there? Indian yoga, Kemetic yoga. Yes. So Indian yoga, it was designed for Indian bodies, and Indian bodies are different than the world's bodies. Many of them already can do these things that are the whole contortion, leg behind the head, all that kind of thing. So taking the yoga practice to America, we can't do those things easily. So you want to be able to still have a well-rounded practice of everything else, along with this practice of stretching, of being flexible, of being supple as well.
Okay. Yeah, I be wondering, like, is that all y'all doing?
No.
But because I was gonna ask you if you were still running.
We lift weights and we run. We can do it all.
Oh man. Because I'll be like, man. One last question. So with yoga, is there like, are you guys focused on the core? Because I feel like some of the movements, I guess that's what we call them, poses, you know, it could be like core related or stretching of the core. because I'm really trying to strengthen my core. So I'm just
okay. Okay, you want to get a little six pack there?
I'm trying. I'm on the bike. I'm running.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my weights.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Summertime is here.
Summertime body. Get it right, McGee. Get it right, Constance. Yes, yoga postures are, for the most part, centered around two things: your spine health and your core stability.
Okay.
So in short, for a really short answer, yes.
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 Okay. Awesome. Well, that was my last question for real this time. For real,
Are you sure? Because I got more to give.
What else you got to give?
I mean, I can go on and on about yoga philosophy and body and people of color.
Okay. Well, what is one thing that you wish people would know, like, or like a misconception you wish they would debunk so that people can embrace yoga?
Your physical body will only be as flexible as your mind is flexible.
I'm working on that because Dumars always tells me it's a mental thing. Everything is mental. If you can train your brain, you could do it. I was doing sit-ups the other day and I was like, man, I'm about to quit. I finally made it to 100. Like,
did you?
No stop. I've been working on that. I've been working on my planking and stuff. And he was like, it's a mental thing. And I realized because I was at like 50 something. I was like, I'll stop because, it's getting hard. And I was like, no, like, keep going. Like, keep going. Yeah. So, okay.
So that's one thing. Another thing is that it is considering that it's a mind thing over the body thing that I say that because I've had a couple men, particularly, of course, who say, I'm gonna come when I'm flexible. Well,
okay.
No. No. Open your mind to become flexible.
Okay.
And that's when the practice becomes real practice. But then the second thing that I wanted to say was to not focus on the posture or the shape. Focus on the sensation.
Okay. Because I'm like, I know I'm doing this wrong. I know.
Right. Right. When you get stuck on the posture and the focus and the shape, you're losing the practice. The practice isn't about the shape. The practice is about how you feel along the way in the shape and how connected you are to your body along the way too.
Okay. Because that'd be me. I'm like, I did it wrong, but I ain't stopping. Okay. Well, I don't have nothing else.
You don't got nothing else?
Oh, I do have a question. See, I ain't talking forever, so it's like I probably have 1,000 questions. Do you teach any like virtual classes?
Not yet. I have a thing about virtual classes.
Okay.
I'm working on doing two things: getting a YouTube database of content.
Okay.
To have available, which I kind of already do have on my YouTube page. I can send you the link to post if you want to post that.
Yes, I didn't even know you had a YouTube.
Yeah, so I actually have a YouTube. I had a YouTube show.
Me too. Well, I used to have YouTube, and I
remember you did. Yeah.
I haven't posted in a while because of what I was telling you before we was recording. But
so I have a YouTube channel that had 10 episodes of me discussing yoga philosophy, my anxiety, music, books and things. Check that out for sure.
Yes.
But then on that same channel is probably about 10 or 11 or so different videos of me teaching yoga classes. That's not structured to be like a full channel, but some content there. But to answer your question, I do plan to, need to, and will begin soon either creating more content and or teaching virtually because it's an option. It's where we are now in today's time after COVID. And we're all doing Zoom and this shit here. So, so I need to lean on that as well. But it's challenging because I'm such a presence-centered person.
Okay.
People can do it. Titus needs to be with you. And it ain't the same when you looking at the screen trying to say, hey, so.
Okay. Or maybe just like a flow. I feel like they call it like a flow, like she's doing it and then you just jump in and you do with her. Or maybe it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna learn how to do this pose.
Yeah. So if you look at my Instagram page probably has between 3 and 5 tech Tuesdays with Titus, and those are Tuesdays that I did for about a month or so of breaking down some poses to help you guys learn things.
Yeah, I watched a couple of them. I was like, I don't know what he's doing, but okay. Like,
thank you for the support. Thank you for the support, Constance.
I'm a support, and then if I remember, I'm a share.
Yes.
Please. Childish, I'm sharing a lot of funny stuff. But all right. So okay. If they have an outside class, I'll look. If they have an outside class, or like
they have those. Summer's coming, and like I said, and you recognize this when you're not in the yoga world, you don't see it. But every day I see yoga studios and teachers in every city around the world, major cities for sure, who are hosting events in their cities. It's happening often.
Are there like conferences where like you guys would?
We have retreats often.
Okay.
Weekend retreats, day seminars, half day things. One last thing that I'll say before we get off, because I do need to go in about a minute or so now too. Kind of announcement to you, Constance, and to your world as well. I am also not only a teacher in the city, but I've been approved and I was chosen to be an ambassador for Lululemon.
Really? Oh my gosh! Look at that! I be wanting Lululemon stuff, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to pay them prices for them clothes. But them
prices are real.
But I heard that they're really good. They
last forever. They last a long time. They're durable. The materials, it's good. So I say that to say, considering that Lululemon oftentimes will have events at their stores, like I will be soon too. But places in the city and parks and venues, maybe some gyms may have it as well. There are active yoga scenes in every big city. Just stay on the lookout. Look them up. I'll send you some things myself that I can find that in Chicago too, because I want you to get out there, Constance.
I know. I'm trying. It's the what do they say? The introvert in me. Okay. But I'm here, so that's like one step.
This is a step. This is a step. I'm proud of you for that.
But thank you guys for joining in. Thank you, Titus, for being here. We learned so much about yoga. And do not forget to tune in to the next episode of Kickish.
All right. We kicking it.